Hello guys, welcome to the Wrestling Skull podcast. I'm your host John Scott, of course joined for this King of the Ring retrospective of 99. We are joined as always by my co-host Matt Essex. Matt, how you doing back in 1999?
Yeah, not bad. Yeah, I'm glad to be revisiting it. I mean, it's a year that holds a lot of memories for me, you know, when I was really getting heavily into the wrestling. So I can't say I remember too much about this King of the Ring, but I'm glad to be watching it again, actually, to bring back some memories, hopefully.
Absolutely. Well, as we always do on this King of the Ring retrospective series, we are going to watch the entire pay-per-view, and you guys are of course always welcome if you are in the comforts of your own home or you have your capabilities of watching the pay-per-view along with us. We will count you in and you can enjoy the experience, as I know many of you do. I've had a lot of emails. We had I think we've done maybe the first three. We just done it as like a simple kind of review kind of thing, like we do most pay-per-views that we do currently. But I had a few suggestions to say, look, why don't you do the whole thing? And it makes a lot of sense for myself and Matt as well, time-wise. So yeah, without further ado, I will count us down, and by the time I get to 1, we would have started the pay-per-view. So guys, let's get ready. Here we go, Matt. Back to 1999. 3, 2, 1. We're away. We have the old Attitude intro going on, Matt. And yes, we are very much in the Attitude era now. As we came off the bat of 1998, the last one we did. And I can already see we've got a very interested sort of video going on here. They used to do a lot of this back in the day. They'd always put something very culturally or try and interject society into these video packages. I always found them quite amusing when you look back at it. They don't do that as much nowadays, I will say. They're very much to themselves. But that was something they used to do. Matt, any memories at all for that you have of experiencing watching it live at all?
I think the only thing I can really remember on this one is that I was really shocked about the overall winner. I think that's the only thing from my memories of watching it live. Yeah.
Well, I was saying to Matt before we started, we came on the air, I was saying that I'd done some research for this one. I haven't really been doing too much research on the others, but I thought, I'll check this out because I really I just couldn't remember much about it at all. And I have to say, this particular King of the Ring has had so many articles, so many columns, so much negative feedback as being the worst King of the Ring pay-per-view of the lot. Whether that is the case, we're about to find out. So I'm interested to know if it was that bad. But I think from what I gathered, the majority say in a booking sense it was quite diabolical, and not just the King of the Ring itself, but everything else. As we see this nice little video going on of the King of the Ring. Now Matt, we discussed last time on 1998 that by 98 they'd really sort of taken a different approach to King of the Ring in terms of the whole tournament feel had kind of gone. And I think you mentioned as well that at the start of that pay-per-view it was the first time we didn't have a King of the Ring match, which I think showed you the way they were going. As we open up at King of the Ring 1999, a lot of people there with this is like, I said this last time, but this is like the land of the bring the signs, isn't it, at this point? I mean, everybody seemed to do that back then. And like this whole camera thing that you see now was very, very... this used to happen all the time, especially on Raw.
Must have been hard to see the event, the amount of signs that are going up in front of your face.
So get them down. One thing I will point out already, and we spoke about this many a times on our podcast, as we see Jerry Lawler, the ever familiar Jerry Lawler on this King of the Ring retrospective with Jim Ross. But there is I can see an indoor sponsor thing going around at the top. We haven't had one of those for a while, so that's interesting.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure it's not Stridex though. Let's hope. So yeah, this is going to be it's been an interesting one because again I haven't looked at the matches, I will say that much, so I don't know what's coming up on this show. We're getting so this is like they're showing us little of what happened earlier in the night. This is when they used to air Heat before the pay-per-views. I don't know if you can ever remember that, Matt. I used to actually tune into that.
No, I do remember that.
About an hour.
I didn't watch them that often, but I do remember that. It's kind of like what they're doing out at Superstars, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, Heat was like an every Sunday kind of thing. So if a pay-per-view was on, it would mean that it would go up just before the pay-per-view. So it's probably a little bit better version of what we get on the pre-show nowadays, because there was a little bit more wrestling in it at least. But you know, it was what it was. It was never anything amazing. But Heat was like one of those shows that's quite well remembered by everybody, as we see Ken Shamrock spitting up blood in the backstage area.
I guess this is when the hardcore era was in full swing.
Absolutely, and another very young Michael Cole there as well on my screen. He was very young. So yeah, the one thing we did get in that video package is the whole McMahon's in full swing against Stone Cold Steve Austin, and on this particular night, I remember it was Shane and Vince taking on Stone Cold Steve Austin in a ladder match, Matt, of all things. It's just crazy, isn't it? Hence why we see loads of ladders by that entranceway, because I was slightly confused. And here's a man coming down now who I actually recently met, I will say, Hardcore Holly. Coming down the aisle for this King of the Ring, as you see, he's got a little bit of fan fest going on for himself there, as you can see.
Definitely coming out with a better gimmick to his last one.
Right, yeah. I mean, wow, that's like what, in 1 year?
Yeah.
You know, a couple of yeah. Was it 1 year or a couple of years? I can't.
Yeah. Just 1 year, wasn't it? It was the King of the Ring.
Yeah. So there you go. So he's really in full swing of the sort of character that would lead him to the promised land in terms of his career. I mean, that was the one he stuck with. Thankfully, no more the long hair either. That kind of went with it. So yeah, Hardcore Holly, as he was known. And interestingly enough, this is a quarterfinals match, Matt. So we've gone from '98, where they didn't really look at King of the Ring maybe as a dominant theme that night, but this one they've gone back to having quarterfinal matches, Matt. So and I have to say I don't remember them doing that, so I'm kind of thrown out, because I thought by this time they'd only gone up to semi-finals. So this will be an interesting theme, and also you never know, it could rival some of our tournaments that we've enjoyed in the past. But so X-Pac versus Bob Holly then in the quarterfinals, and I can't say I remember any of this, so it's very it's very alien to me.
I definitely can't remember this match. I do remember like them being involved in it, but I didn't remember that actually even fought each other.
Yeah, no, me neither. So yeah, this is an interesting one, and it's interesting, like I said, that they've gone back like to having the quarterfinals back on, like starting it from there again, which I'm in favour of, because like, I mean, that is what the King of the Ring is squarely about. So why not have that as the main theme? And I'm guessing, like, I mean, we saw X-Pac, he was involved in the last one as well, on that sort of fresh return. But yeah, I mean, he was, around this time, he was still quite popular, X-Pac. Like, he definitely had these little cult followings going on back then. But you know, if he was playing the face, he was always pretty much cheered. He was never one of those guys people got that sick of, to be fair. But for Hardcore Holly, Matt, I mean, was he like... see, when he done this gimmick, I was quite a big fan of his. But I don't know if I ever sort of saw him as a King of the Ring winner. But would he have been, at this time for you, would he have been like one of the sort of main guys to go on and win?
No, not for me really. I think at this point you kind of like label him as like a kind of outcast, you know, like he wasn't doing so well in the mainstream kind of thing, like side of things, like going for an Intercontinental titles. I think that's why they created this kind of hardcore division for like the people who are like on the fringe to try and have a title. Yeah. You might maybe incredibly
right there. That's what they've done with those guys back then. It'd be like the jobbers of today having their own little division amongst themselves, but at least they're doing something. So got to give them that for that. And the hardcore belt, to be quite honest with you, wasn't wasn't that bad. I mean, people don't always look at that and go, that was a tremendous title, but it certainly gave guys an opportunity, a spotlight, and it was completely different from the Intercontinental and European and further along US title. It was like something, its own little thing, and it was like its own little club. So you didn't just get any challenger into it.
It may be one of those titles as well, where if you did a survey and said what title would people want to see back, hardcore title might take the list.
Yeah, well, I mean, in the day and age that we have all this, probably as we're talking now, especially as we have all this different brands and so many titles going on, that this is one of the belts I actually would recommend they do bring back, because it is something different, and perhaps it would have its own little division. But again, I don't know if that suits the PG era for WWE. That might be the only problem that they have with that.
That was a sensible decision there to take yourself out of the King of Ring competition there, then.
Yeah. And what are you making of the match so far, Matt, and what we've seen then?
It was alright, but I think the ending's a bit puzzling to me. It's just sort of... they always said the King of the Ring was an important thing to win, but it looked like Hulk Holly just really didn't care. Yeah,
he got angry, got upset, and then, chair shot over the head, and that was that. Not too much you can say.
I guess that will be carried through with X-Pac later on in his next match to be like, oh, I've got a bit of headache.
Yeah, that's a familiar theme that they do like to have one guy like an underdog who's got battered and injured from the sort of last one coming out. So well, I'm sure they'll. I think. Oh, so as we see have you got the playoff on yours now, Matt? Does that come up on yours?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can see the full lineup now, and of course Road Dogg is also representing DX, so he's also involved in this. As we see Bob Holly backstage, and they're asking him probably why. But but yeah, Kane and Big Show looks interesting. I'll say that much. Don't remember that at all in King of the Ring.
No, I can't say I do. I mean, looking at that would be one of the ones that I was excited to watch.
Yeah, see where they go from it. But I guess around 99, I don't know if there would be anybody in particular out of that lot that I would have gone, right, that's my person. But I mean, would it have been sort of shortcoming that people might have actually looked at, say, China at the time, Matt, and thought, she's coming up fast and quick, so why wouldn't WWE go with that? I don't know. That
would be quite the statement, though, wouldn't it? I think at this time it was more like story driven to actually say, oh, how will Road Dogg handle this? Will he actually fight her, or will he just like try and treat her like a woman? I think they were just like building on that, like that she is more of a men's division kind of athlete rather than the women's.
Absolutely. Well, we see Big Show coming out, and I mean, what is this? 99. So this is his first year in WWE, and it's no sort of secret that Big Show, when he first come in, Matt, he did find it hard to adapt to WWE life in the ring, but that was just because of such inexperience that he had. And I know in WCW he wasn't really booked like he had to really go for 20-minute matches. He was very much kept as the giant, and he kind of dominates everybody. But when he came to this world, Vince McMahon obviously saw something in him and some sort of potential.